if you have a situation in which someone votes using my name, and I go to vote, and I can't cast my vote, I am in effect disenfranchised. This very situation did occur in my county during the last election cycle, which is one of the things that helped spark my interest in this issue. What the PCS before you does is we start in section 1.1 is it asks those who are presenting themselves to vote to please show a picture ID. If they do not have a picture ID, we move on in the bill, and you'll find that the top of page 2 of the bill defines what kinds of picture IDs we will accept for this. Also on page 2, beginning on line 22, you see that we will also accept voter registration cards. Now here's an interesting point about that. As everyone in this room knows, this is a redistricting year, and counties mail out voter registration cards during the redistricting years. Anyway, a voter may present a current utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other government document. Now, there's one more step involved. If you have the photo ID, you show it to the poll worker, you get your ballot and you vote. If you don't, then you can show one of these other forms of IDs, and we're going to ask you at that point to sign right there at the poll and affidavit saying that you are who you say you are. The poll workers are going to then look at your signature, and if it matches what is in the poll book, then you will vote what is called a retrievable ballot. Now, before anybody gets upset, let me explain that a retrievable ballot is the exact same kind of ballot that every single one-stop site already uses. This isn't a new thing. It isn't something that we've come up with. They vote a retrievable ballot. If the two poll workers don't agree that the signature matches, the voter simply is given the opportunity to then vote a provisional ballot, which we've had those for years, so I won't spend time going over those. As the fiscal memorandum or fiscal note you have before you indicates, since we are accepting more forms of IDs than just the original ones that were discussed, we don't know exactly how much this is going to cost. I can tell you, and I apologize, I had this before you. I will tell you in just a moment what the cost to implement this was in Georgia, which has roughly the same population as we do. I can assure you it is much less than the 1.1 million to 1.4 million that is shown on the fiscal memorandum.
The item that you got listed in here don't have your signature on it, so how can you compare with a utility bill? For instance, I go to the poll, I sign, and they want identification of a utility bill. I show them my utility bill. How is that comparing signature?
When I go in with the non-photo document and I have the HABA document, my signature is going to be compared to my prior signature. My question is this: Is my fundamental right to vote coming down to whether an untrained poll worker says that my signature now matches my signature from before? Because that's what it seems is going to happen according to this bill, and I'm trying to figure out how we're going to train everybody to be FBI signature analysts.
On this proposed committee substitute, what difference is this in the bill that you had a month or two ago that was a kind of compromise for position that the governor had talked about and agreed to, and several other people? What changes? It appears to be a few minor changes in here, so what are they?
This essentially is that bill, Representative Owens. If there are any changes from what I thought was agreed to, then that would be a surprise to me.
The word that this may be not the same bill is exactly that we were talking about before. We haven't had time to digest it, but is there a few differences in this? At least by one version, there may be a difference.
Representative Owens, we asked the staff to prepare the language from the very last attempt we had at trying to reach a compromise deal. So if there is anything in here that was not a part of what the team working on it agreed to, I'll be glad to see that this removed, but it's not supposed to be here. This is supposed to be here.
This is not the same, this is a little bit worse, I think, in my book, than what we had before. I haven't had, this is the first time I've seen this one, and the changes that have been made so far seem to be more drastic than everybody's been known.
Representative Adams, I did not hear what you asked, and I apologize. If I may, if the chair would, if the lady would indulge and the chair would indulge, it has never been my intent to spring deals out. This is merely a matter of everybody knows the hard deadline that we're up against on Thursday, which if you'd like me to comment on if that makes any sense or not, I'll be glad to do that. But it's obvious that there needs to be some more review by the members of this group. And with that and the chair's permission, I'd like to have the bill displaced, if possible, please.
Bill will be temporarily displaced.